topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Camping Show. I'm C.W. Getz.
And I'm Willow Munson.
It is Wednesday, November 17th, 2021. I have a very wild story. Oh, not really wild, but a little. This is like a little freaky what happened to me today. So I'm in Walmart getting my groceries, right? And I happened to grab the last thing that I had to check out was a bottle of olive oil. So I went to grab the bottle and put it on the checkout thing or scan it because I was in one of those self-scanning things. And the neck of the bottle broke. And it was like underneath, you know how they have the wrapper, like the little whatever foil or paper wrapper at the top, and then you screw the cap on. I'm telling you, the thing broke. I reacted and I went to grab it. And I put my finger, went right into this sharp shard glass, and it is so deep it wouldn't stop bleeding. I was like bleeding all over the store.
Olive oil is the worst thing to break too.
Oh yeah, all over oil.
You can't clean that up.
Oh, it's terrible. And the guy's like helping, so I go, "Excuse me, I think I need some help over here." He's like, "No, I need you now." Okay, thank you. So, and I'll just say this: Walmart was very nice to me. They actually gave me a new free bottle of olive oil, so I was very
happy. That's not cheap either.
I was just going to say it was not cheap, so I really appreciated their assistance. They were very, very kind to me. Took me in the back room and put a cast on it. No, I'm joking. We just gave
of course.
So thanks to Walmart, you guys are awesome. But it's the freakiest thing. So yeah, I probably needed some stitches, but it's been bleeding ever since, and that's been hours ago. That's been this morning. So. It is what it is, but be careful with those olive bottles, kids. So you never know. Well, tonight's episode is brought to you by Campground Views, making camping easier.
And by Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
And by Sandsbug, the quickest tent you've ever pitched.
By Camp More, the store that gets you out more.
And finally by Duluth Pack, made in the USA since 1882.
Wow.
Tonight's episode is Trail Camping with Horses with our special guests, Gary and Vicky McKee. Willow, could you tell us a little bit about Gary and Vicky, please?
70-year-old retired pastor, chaplain, and bailiff for local county police departments, Gary McKee and his wife, Vicky, make their home in a wooded area of north central Illinois. For a number of years, they've been actively taking camping trips. However, their style of camping isn't the typical car camping or canoe camping. Instead, Gary and Vicky are active equestrian campers, taking trips for months at a time. In fact, when Gary was an active pastor, he also used to preach on horseback. The couple joins us this evening to share their experiences about camping with horses and how they got started.
Well, with that, welcome to the show, Gary and Vicky.
Welcome, Gary and Vicky.
It's good to be here tonight. Good to be here tonight.
And Vicky, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Well, listen, here's the thing. We had a little technical difficulty before the show, so we're not going to be able to see Gary and Vicky, but we will hear them.
Which is what's important.
Right, exactly. They're in my studio, and you'll just get to look at Willow and me, but I would suggest looking at Willow because I'm not as everyone knows. So we'll get started here.
Yes.
Gary, Vicky, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You got it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was curious, how long have you been camping with horses and how did you even get started doing that?
Well, we started back about 15 to 16 years ago, and we decided to take part of our family, my wife's sisters and mother and a grandchild. And we just decided to go down to Shawnee National Forest, Southern Illinois, to the Hayes Canyon Campground. And there we took 2 draft horses. We used to raise percherons, draft horses. and we took one saddle horse, and we actually rode draft horses. And I had my 6-year-old grandson with me, and we put him on a 2,000-pound draft horse, and that was his horse for the camping trip of that year. And so that
Wow.
was 15, 16 years ago, and we rented a cabin, and that's kind of how we got started. And then as we phased out the big draft horses, we got more saddle horses and got more into the trails.
Wow. Yeah. So you had draft horses and what is it?
Percheron.
Percheron.
They're black and gray and white, and they weighed between 18 2,000 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty good sized horse, right?
Yeah.
I would think.
The one was, most of them were 17 and 18 hands tall.
Oh wow. Yeah.
My only claim to fame with horses. Do you know the Lipizzane?
We watched them on TV like everybody else. Never been around
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Well, I got to see them. My mom loves horses. She grew up riding, and we saw them in Ljubljana, I don't know, 2 summers ago or something. And it was so incredible.
Yes, they are.
That is wild.
There.
That's wild. So is it just usually the two of you, or do you ever go with groups? On your camping expeditions?
We have been we have taken some grandchildren and some other relatives, but in the last few years it's just Vicky and I. It's easier to travel this with two. Our camper is set up with a 3-horse slant in the back, and so it's just easier to take 2 horses, and we use the one stall for miscellaneous things, feed and different things. So it's just in the last few years, it's just been Vicky and I.
Okay, but you used to go with groups. That's kind of
some relatives, family, not a big group, but when we go camping, you have sometimes from 80 to 100 campers, and so you run across all sorts of people.
Oh wow!
Whoa!
All sorts of people.
You mean 80 to 100 campers, not in a group? But
no, in the campground. In the campground, there could be anywhere. That's about the max, 100, 105 campers.
That's got to be a big campground if
you
have that many horse trailers.
Yes.
I'm guessing. Wow.
Yes.
And I mean, did some of these people like tent camp then too, or what?
We've seen a few tent campers, haven't we?
Not
honey?
very many. Though.
We did it once or twice because we did not have anything else.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so let me ask you, what's your favorite thing about camping with your horses? Because the element of caring for the horses, doing the chores and all that. Yeah, that's a lot of work, right?
Yes, many times when I'm cleaning out their pins, I'm thinking, when most people go on vacation, they're on the beach reading a book, and I'm pitching manure.
Yeah, right.
That don't sound too smart.
Well, I like the trails. That's the main reason why I like to go with the horses, because we like to get out in the nature and ride the horses, and we just enjoy it. It's very relaxing to us. When I come back, sometimes I feel like I'm exhausted, but I think I'm just so relaxed. I just want to rest.
Yeah.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah. It's kind of funny you're talking about all this, and it is work. So then is it vacation if you're doing all that work? I mean, is it
well, if you're like Vicky and I've been for years, born and raised in the farm, not too far from where you was born and raised, and then used to that type of activity, it's really not work when you enjoy it. It's activity. You're just, it is, I think I'd rather take 2 horses than 4 grandkids. And so it might be easier.
Well, that's a good point, because when we go canoe camping, and Willow, I don't know if you've gone canoe camping before, haven't you?
I have many years ago in the Boundary Waters. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is a lot of work. I mean, if you think about it, it's definitely more work than sitting on the beach and ordering another drink, right? But if, like you said, Gary, if you enjoy it, it's not really work then, is it? Yeah.
No, it's enjoyment. In fact, when Vicky and I go riding, she's our navigator. She's got the GPS on her phone and the tracking and the maps. All the maps come up on the phone now, and we write out the destinations like a waterfall.
Oh wow!
Like a cropped out, like a cave, and formations, stone, rock formations, and overlooks, and I don't know where else we all go. Just different cabins out in the middle of nowhere, and that's what we like to ride to.
So you got the phone while you're on the horse.
Vicky tell them what you have on your phone that helps us get around, not lost.
Okay, I have what they call Maprika, And it's just a GPS,
Wow.
and many of the campgrounds will have their maps on there. So you just have to download their maps. And then as we are traveling on our horse, there's a little dot there, and it just shows you exactly where you are on the trail. So you can't get lost, and I would not go without it because it's very easy to get lost out there in
Easy.
the woods. Very, very easy.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy.
You don't ever use popcorn? Drop it
We
in the-
there's a few times we thought we should have,
Yeah.
because some of the trails and areas are the maps they give you are absolutely useless
Really?
because they're not accurate at all.
Well, some of them have good maps, but they don't have any markers on the trails for you to know exactly where you're at.
Yeah,
So-
Really?
So the Map Rika has really saved us from, being lost, and we
yeah.
know
Some of your
exactly
national
where we're at.
forests won't allow you to mark a trail, and
Oh.
so
Oh,
that
wow.
kind of causes some problem. Vicky and I have been lost one time for a couple 3 hours. But we finally made our way back. Was down in Missouri one time.
Wow.
And we got turned around and didn't know how to get back. And we ended up coming down a trail. We called it the Man from Snowy River type trail, and it was treacherous, but we made it. We made it. So
Thank goodness.
That's crazy.
It would ruin the whole show if you weren't here, still lost in the Missouri woods. So, why don't you tell us about your particular situation? What's all involved with your camping trips with horses?
well, it starts out. Vicky, she has to pack the whole camper for our food and pots and pans, and we the whole thing.
Good
She
for
gets
you,
a lot-
Vicky.
Yeah, she gets a lot of that, and I just get the horses ready in the hay, and our trailer is 40 foot long, and there's a full living quarters up front, and then 3 slanted stalls in the back. So you just have to pack your whole camper, all the stuff you're going to use for. We were gone 2 months this time, and you just have to pack everything. And so then now we have a what we call a permanent campsite down in the Shawnee National Forest, and the campground we chose was Little Lusk. It's just south of Harrisburg. And when we get down there, we have a nice gravel pad that we built. We put our trailer on it, drop it, set it up, and then we have we built covered stalls for the horses, and they're about 60 foot out the back of the trailer. And so it's just driving 6.5 hours and taking everything you need for 2 months. And Walmart's only 13 miles from the camper, so my wife can survive the camping trip. So anyhow,
Oh, wow.
so that's kind of what we have to do to get ready to go.
And we have to pack everything for the horses, their saddles and their bridles and fly spray and just whatever the
First aid
horses
kits
need.
for
Yeah.
the horses and all sorts of things.
I saw that trailer you guys have. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a regular camper in the front, and the horses are.
And
The
padded
horse camp-
stalls in the back, and it's
Yeah.
insulated and
Those guys have it nicer than you do up front, I think. Right?
almost
They do.
mangers. They have mangers, and some even have air conditioning and fans in it, but we don't have that.
For the horses.
Yes,
Wow. And I've noticed it. By the way, do you play music for them back there?
we could, but
Could
we
you?
don't.
You don't? I have seen equestrian people, and they take better care of their horses than I think maybe sometimes even themselves.
Yes, they spend more money on them.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
They'll spend $80 to go to the chiropractor for the horse, but never on themselves. Yeah.
Oh, good.
On that note, we're going to take a break, guys, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of the camping show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
It's time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention.
I love camping, but hate setting up and packing. Sound familiar? With the Sandsbug pop-up tent, you simply toss it in the air, bug-free in 1 second. Cliff Jacobson, America's most published wilderness expert, has this to say: at well under $100, these tents are a bargain. They are not toys. With a well-designed tarp, they should withstand a long, heavy rain. I'm impressed by the full coverage fly. It stakes right into the ground. No short cap fly for the wind to get under. In all, I think you have an excellent product here, even though it's one designed for casual camping. Namely, the kind of camping most people and scouts do. The Sandsbug has been used by the U.S. and Canadian military, disaster response volunteers in Haiti, ecologists in Madagascar, and doctors in the Amazon. Sandsbug, the quickest tent you've ever pitched. Find us on sandsbug.com.
Duluth Pack is handcrafted for every lifestyle, making memories since 1882. In store at 365 Canal Park Drive or online at duluthpack.com.
Okay, and we're back here on the camping show with our guests Gary and Vicky McKee. Still trying to resolve our technical problems, and we may get them on. We're working on that as we speak. You know, like the big networks, they do that. That's what we're doing tonight. So interesting show. Gary and Vicky, have you ever packed everything on the horses and camped on the trail? You know, like we were talking about, you said we did that once with the tents, and you ever did that like the
No, we've never taken what they call a pack trip because we're old. I'm not sleeping on the ground. Forget it. I did that in the Army. I ain't sleeping on the ground.
You could sleep on the horse, right?
Yeah, and there, you know, you got a little more I mean, you got to have a good place to tie your horse. You got to have extra feed if you're out there away from, you know, which you can let them graze and water. If you got water, you let them drink out the creek. Mm-hmm. But no, we've never done that. The most we've ever ridden out on the trail, I think, is 21 miles. But we prefer to stay around the 12-14 mile mark. Keeps us closer to 4 hours. And what we do, we pack lunches and we pack snacks, and we'll stop at a destination and just stop and, you know, smell the roses and munch and take our time, you know. So
what did you say the furthest you went was?
I think the furthest on far as horseback was 21, I think, 2021. The furthest I ever went with a team of horses in a covered wagon was 43 in one day, and that was horrible.
Okay, so it was horrible.
It was long.
So when you say 21, you said 21 for
21 miles.
Okay, 21 out and 21 back?
No.
Oh, total. Okay, there we go. I'm thinking that's a lot of mileage.
It's a lot. And it's you know, it's tougher on the horses too if they're not conditioned well.
Yeah, because the driver is just kind of sitting there, isn't he?
You're just kind of, but you get wore out. Let me tell you, you're wore out. You're wore out.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, Vicky, I know you enjoy cooking over the fire with cast iron. Is that how you prepare most of your meals on camping trips?
Well, not most of them. I do that occasionally. But I do enjoy it. I make lasagna and I make chicken and rice. I make biscuits and gravy and some desserts that are just the dump cakes. You know, they're really easy. You just dump it in there and just cook it, you know. But my main source of cooking is on the Blackstone griddle. I love cooking on there because you just throw everything on there and cook it, and it's just really nice. It's easy to clean up, and but then I do have a toaster oven if I want to bake something. And I also have like just a camp stove that I can cook on if I want to. At the cast iron, I do that. It's not my main source of cooking, but I do enjoy it.
You have a Blackstone.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
2 of them.
So they're okay. They're just gas. There's no electricity required of those.
Yeah.
I don't own one. My friend owns one here, near here. But that's this monster griddle, right?
Yes.
No, I have a tailgate one. It's only 17 inches.
Oh, okay.
And that's real easy to throw in the camper and take. I also have is it a 22 inch, I think, at home. And it actually has a stand on it. And I probably will take that when the kids camp with us.
Speaking of the cast iron, I'm trying to think. I gave you some cast iron, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Did I give it or did I sell it? I don't know.
You sold it.
I should have given it to you.
Yeah,
I'm a
being
jerk.
a neighbor, you should have gave it.
Neighbor, and Vicky is my cousin as well. So yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm just a bad person, aren't I?
No,
Yeah.
you're not.
And I think it was was it any cookware or is it just the table? When I was a table, where you put charcoal on the table.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I love that table. It's really nice to cook on because you don't have to stoop down onto the ground. It's just right, nice level for me.
Yeah.
And then you gave me a Dutch oven also, I bought a Dutch oven.
Yeah, right.
It was big bucks too.
See how she was quick with that? You sold me a Dutch oven.
But it was a lot less than if I would have bought it brand new. So I was glad to get it.
Well, that's good. I mean, have you got the warranty's still good on that, if you bring it back, it never fails you.
On the inside, she had a 2-burner stove, microwave, and a convection oven in the microwave. But she'd rather not mess it up on the inside. It's easier for the mess outside.
Well, there's that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other thing she did, which I told her you cannot do that on your Blackstone. She made popcorn on her Blackstone and a videotape, and it was just amazing. All this popcorn, and so that's a real trick.
Oh yeah.
So we showed our neighbors. We showed 2-3 neighbors how you can make popcorn on top of a Blackstone griddle.
Speaking of these, the cast iron cookware, do people actually take those and put those on horses and hit the trail?
We never seen it, but I'm sure there's some nuts out there that do it.
That's a lot of weight.
You're
gonna get mail now.
Yeah. Well, some gun hole people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, those horses. I mean, do they ever do if people were packing going on a trail, they were going to camp and things like that? Would you have a pack horse? Is that what they call it?
We had friends that went out to the Bob Marshall, National Forest, whatever it is. And they had, they went on a 7-day pack trip, and they had, I think, 21 pack horses with, I think, 10 people that went or something.
Wow.
Incredible. Tents and food and cookware. And
what's heavier, the people or the gear?
Pardon?
What do you think's heavier, the people or the gear?
Well, they won't. They weigh what they what they put on a pack horse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they equalize it out. They weigh. They know what they're putting on a pack horse.
What typically the weight do they?
I would say for a pack horse, because it's dead weight, not a person sitting up there, I would say it's under 200 pounds.
Oh.
That's my guess.
Oh, okay.
That's my guess.
Well, that's not such a bad gig for the horse.
No,
right?
I've been of an opinion for the last couple of years that no one should ride a horse that's over 200. Now I got 20 more pounds of shed to meet that opinion.
I was going to say, what are you weighing in there, Gary?
But they say a horse should never carry 25% over its weight.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Of its weight.
Well, that makes sense. The horse chiropractors, I'm sure, are the ones who say that. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Well, Gary, you're now a retired pastor, but you used to preach on horseback. Personally, I've never heard of that before. Is that something you started?
No, there's been people for years have used an unbroke horse to illustrate our relationship with God. I just know that a horse is the best animal to illustrate humility.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Right.
Best one. And so I've just had one message that we use to illustrate some scripture. Vicky, we've used another scripture. Vicky and I are both on horseback. And then I had a team of Palominos on a buggy that we used to illustrate some scripture.
Oh, wow.
And so we preached from Chicago to Amarillo, Texas, to Lawton, Oklahoma, several times at Bureau County Fair for the high school rodeo. Most campgrounds we go to, I end up preaching. Each campground I've been to, the horse has preached there, and I usually preach every Sunday morning, almost everywhere we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I know when I heard that, I go, what?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before. So
there's some great trainers who use horses to illustrate scriptures. Some great horse trainers.
Very cool. Very cool.
And Vicky, are there plenty of places across the country that people can go camping with their horses?
Yes, all across America, there's places to ride horses. Some states have a little bit more than others, but we just know mostly the Missouri, Arkansas, and Illinois areas mostly, and then also Indiana. We've been to Indiana, Iowa, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and those are the states. Oh, Oklahoma too.
Oklahoma,
Texas,
yeah.
We've been to, but there's
Wow.
anywhere you go, you can find horse camps.
That's a cool collection of states.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We had a chance to go up to South Dakota. We went up. We got just about less than a mile up to Mount Rushmore, and they had the trail closed because of downfall. And so then we went to Harney Peak, which is right there by Mount Rushmore, which is the highest peak in the Black Hills. And the very day we was there, they changed the name of the peak. It went from Harney Peak to Black Elk Peak. I think that's
Wow.
That's wild.
It was probably one of the most majestic trails that we were ever on. It was quite challenging.
And we had our GPS going, and when we went up there, it was Harney Peak. When we came back, it was Black Elk Wilderness. I think it was Wilderness.
Yeah.
Yes,
It changed.
It changed. Before
It
we
changed
came
right
back.
on the screen.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Those technical
Wow.
people are fast.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of the Camping Show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
It's time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on the Camping Show.
I love camping, but hate setting up and packing. Sound familiar? With the Sandsbug pop-up tent, you simply toss it in the air, bug-free in 1 second. Cliff Jacobson, America's most published wilderness expert, has this to say: at well under $100, these tents are a bargain. They are not toys. With a well-designed tarp, they should withstand a long, heavy rain. I'm impressed by the full coverage fly. It stakes right into the ground. No short cap fly for the wind to get under. In all, I think you have an excellent product here, even though it's one designed for casual camping. Namely, the kind of camping most people and scouts do. The Sandsbug has been used by the U.S. and Canadian military, disaster response volunteers in Haiti, ecologists in Madagascar, and doctors in the Amazon. Sandsbug, the quickest tent you've ever pitched. Find us on sandsbug.com.
Duluth Pack is handcrafted for every lifestyle, making memories since 1882. In store at 365 Canal Park Drive or online at duluthpack.com.
And we're back with our guests, Gary and Vicky McKee on the camping show. I think we have solved our technical problem. Let's try it and see if we can get them on the screen. Okay. Yeah, we do. We have Vicky. You want to adjust there you go. Adjust yourself a little bit so we can see you. There's Vicky, and you want to swing
Nice
that
to
over.
see you finally.
We only got one camera going on in the studio here, so so we can. They're going to swing that back and forth. Okay. Where were we at here? Hey, by the way, I want to ask you: could you give us the Vicky the name of that mapping system that you were talking about? That
it's called Maprika. It's Maprika.
Rika, Maprika,
Yes.
and that's an app.
That's an app,
Okay.
yes. And you have to download. I mean, wherever you're at, it'll show you all of the trails that are on the Maprika. It'll show you where they're at, so you can just if you're within a certain area,
Okay.
it'll show you.
Oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
It's very cool. For people who would like to learn more about going camping with their horses, equestrian camping is the proper term. Am I right?
Yes.
What resources would you recommend to them? Like, where can they learn more about this whole, program, so to speak?
Well, the internet.
Yeah, it's the internet.
I mean, what would they Google? I mean, what would they look at? Or just equestrian camping and how to, or what? Do you have a?
Well, I'll let my husband tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, almost every campground has their website. You can Google how to camp with horses, how to what's the best campsites to go to. There's other groups that you follow. We follow a group called Camping Across America and Horse Trails. Is it no horse trails
camping.
and horse camping and trails across America, something like that.
Okay.
And they have all sorts of things on there. In fact, there's another group I follow. It's called the Horse Apple Gang. I think that's what they call it. And it's retirees and people who had decided to sell all brick and mortar and travel full time year round everywhere with the horse. And they have a connection there. In fact, there was someone that broke down at such and such a place in a Western state. And he said, we need help. We need someone to come and take the horses for a few days while we get the truck and trailer. And they had, in minutes, they had several calls of people coming to help them. So there's a lot of groups like that you can attach to. Vicky and I belong to was what's it called, Vicky? Backcountry.
Yeah, Backcountry Horsemen.
Yeah, Backcountry Horsemen, where they actually have helped and build the trails. Cleared them, made trails, maintained them. So we belong to a group like that, and there's lots and lots of sources on the web.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Roxy, let's have you put up some photos and we'll have Gary and Vicky tell us about each of them.
Well, that is, we just got that going this spring. That is our horse stalls at the back of our permanent campsite and our little camps ring there. And so that's about 80 foot from the back of our trailer site. And there's two 12 by 12 pins covered there. And just a carport that we use to do that.
So you put them in there and under the okay.
Yeah, you have to keep them out of the weather and in a place and maintain them while we're gone.
Absolutely.
Well, a lot of people think that the horses sleep in the camper with us, but we don't do that.
I was wondering about that.
Wow.
That is the Current River in Missouri behind us.
Ooh.
And we were down there last year, and our friends took a picture of us standing there.
Yeah.
And we actually crossed the Current River.
Several times.
We went across the Current River this year. We were down there, and the water was up to our shoes.
Oh, wow.
And I had a new horse that had never crossed it, and he was watching the current, and he was trying to go with the current, and he kept going down to the current, so I had to keep pulling him back. But He'd never been in there before, so it was kind of a new experience for him.
Oh, wow.
I don't know for sure where we're at.
That's at High Knob.
That's
think.
at High Knob. Okay,
Yes,
it's
mhm.
another campground down in the Shawnee, and there's a lot of rock formations like that.
And yeah, we can just go for miles and miles with the walls of rock formations riding like that behind us.
A lot of college kids climb those walls.
Oh yeah.
And they also have on top of one, there's two different places on top the rock formation. There, one particular place, there is a helicopter pad.
Whoa.
Yeah, they come and rescue. And so when we
Jeez.
when we go there, I sit 20, 30 minutes just watching these crazy kids go up and down these rock formations. I think it's crazy.
Yeah. Did they get arrested?
No, I mean, that's they let them do that.
Oh,
That's
see, they don't let them do that here at Star Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said big no. I don't know why. I think it's
Yeah. So it's quite a thing. Where's that at, honey?
I think that is at Maxwell Ford in the Shawnee. It's just a great big cave that we came up on right off the trail, and so we tucked ourselves under there, and someone took a picture of us.
in the Shawnee, meaning Shawnee National Forest.
Yes.
And that's
Southern
in
Illinois.
Yeah.
Southern Illinois. Yeah. My wife and I feel there's some of Vicky's great cooking on the on the griddle.
I did all that on the griddle.
That wasn't in my cast iron, no.
No, I'm sorry. I did not
That was
get a
chicken
picture of that.
parmesan. It
Yeah,
was
chicken
it was
parmesan.
great.
Nice.
It was great. That is looking from the horse stall back up through our campsite that we built this last spring, and our trailer's to the left there. And so you can just see the back end of it. That's all you can see. So Vicky did all, and there's the our awning's down out, but that's her truck and our trailer with her horse stalls in the back, and then her little cooking station's out there. But I think we probably had the awning up. Anytime we leave, we pull the awning back up because of wind.
That's a cool trailer, by the way.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been in there. That's
So-
awesome.
In fact, we were thinking about maybe selling that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, the trailer was super cool. I mean, I'm not surrounded by horses, but I've never seen anything like that. So very cool. And now, have you guys had any crazy experiences or scary stuff happen while riding trails?
I'll let Vicky, because she's more scared of things.
Well, this year we had a real problem with ground bees, and we got into them 10 times. I got stung a couple times. The horses did very well. We were surprised because if they get stung, of course, sometimes they can just
Go ballistic.
Just go ballistic.
I go ballistic
wild.
when I get stung. I can imagine when a horse. Yeah.
Yes, because they think the vet's there giving them a shot, I guess. I don't know what it is. But we've run into copperheads. I think a cottonmouth we ran into one time, but we didn't get bit or anything, but they were along the trail. We've seen bears, we've seen coyotes, deer, lots of deer we've seen. And so, you can run into just about anything that's in the woods out there.
There was only a few times that we ran into some two-legged critters that we weren't quite sure what they were. And just kind of avoid.
You mean like Bigfoot or something?
No,
or
yeah, they're like Bigfoot. Yeah. Some people you just don't get close to. This once or twice. That's about all. Once or twice.
Wow.
Yeah, you never know what because you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's out where the hoot owls cross with the chickens.
Right.
And you're way out there. So yeah.
Now and by the way, and I'm going to ask you this since you, I think I'm okay to ask. You were a deputy for the local sheriff's department, correct?
I started out as a chaplain, still the chaplain for our county.
Yeah.
And then because of going on law write-ins and write-ons and domestics, the sheriff at that time deputized me so I could carry a gun.
Well,
and,
but
basically it was just a chaplain and then also courthouse security. That's basically in ride-alongs.
Yeah.
And then I was a bailiff down in Putnam County too.
When you go on these trails, do you have concealed carry? You carry a gun with you just in case? That's where I was going with that. Yeah. Yeah, he's nodding to me. Yes. They can see you now,
Oh, that's right. Turn that. Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, I wondered when Willow's question was anything scary. And I'm thinking, if you see bears, and I know it's not grizzly bears.
Yeah.
Black
bear.
Yeah. But does a horse kind of freak out at a bear?
I'm sure they would if we ever got close.
Okay.
But we only, seen them far off. This only once or twice, and we've seen some prints in the mud.
Sure.
Once or twice. I think they're more freaked out. We've seen a couple wild hog wallers, and maybe just one a long ways off.
Yeah. We had a question here. Can you see those, Willow? We had a couple of questions here before we do.
Oh, from the comments?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess we have a comment from Rachel saying, I have noticed a lot of therapy involved with equestrian camps. There's so much science supporting the benefits horses provide. So that's something to keep in mind.
Do I think there's therapy involved in it? Oh, yeah, there's just a lot of, far as mental, emotional, stress releases. But, even there's a lot, they use horses for a lot of different therapies for kids that are handicapped, soldiers coming back that are having difficult problems. There's many things, that they use. In fact, our chiropractor says horseback riding is good for your back because you're moving your your hips and your
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, but what we do, what my wife and I do, we ride 2-3 days, and then we have some e-bikes. You guys know what e-bikes are?
I just learned that. Yeah.
E-bikes, and then we'll go take a 20-mile e-bike, let the horses rest one day, and then we'll ride our bikes on bike trails that are made for bikes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. No, yeah, I in fact, I think it was you that told me about them first. Yeah,
they're battery operated bikes. Yeah,
I kind of live in a shoebox here out in the country, so it's nice to inform me of things once in a while. Gary and Vicky, how have things changed since you guys first started camping with your horses, equestrian camping, as it were?
I'll let her answer that. Maybe she.
Well, when we first started, we rented cabins, and then my husband had a horse trailer that was just a stock trailer, and we converted that into what he called a redneck horse trailer.
Redneck living quarters.
Living quarters, yes. And we took that, and we had a lot of fun with it. We never, ever dreamed that we'd have a nice trailer like that we have right now. And so we've kind of come up in the world just a little bit. And I guess, I don't know, can you add anything to that?
Well, years ago when I was 17, my neighbor took me down on a great big organized ride in Eminence, Missouri, and he had a 1966 Chevy 1-ton grain truck that had stock rack on it, and we threw the 3 horses in there, and he pulled down I think a pop-up tent. For his wife and I, and his wife and him, and then I cleaned the back of the truck out and slept in the back of a truck. So things have changed a lot, And years ago, it was just pickup trucks and 2-wheel trailers, and But now, my goodness, some of these trailers are well over 100,000, which is crazy.
Whoa! Wow!
And they have you wouldn't believe some of how decked out some of them are. It is unreal.
As long as they have a stereo,
Yeah.
But even the campgrounds have come up because they used to be all primitive camping where you didn't have any of the amenities like water, electricity, sewer dump, and all that. And as the campers got bigger, then they started adding the 30 amp, and now they have 50 amp. And a lot of the campsites, the campsite that we have has water, electric, and sewer, so we don't have to dump our sewer. It's just right there. You don't have to go to the dump station. And also the trailers have gotten bigger, so they've had to widen their driveways and make their campsites a little bit bigger to get those big rigs in there.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a quick question here, and we've got just a couple of minutes left, so if you guys can answer this real quickly. Wonder how much a bale cost when they started compared to now, a bale.
You can get it in the campground. If you have to buy an extra bale at the campground, you're going to look anywhere from $7 to $10 a bale. Most that's what you're going to pay. When we sell hay out of our field, they're $4.50, $5 for a 50, 60 pound bale. When you go back when you and I was a kid, you're talking $1, $2.
$1.50. Yeah, right. I remember that.
So that's how it changed. Yeah.
Wow. And how long do you guys think you're going to continue doing this horse camping whole extravaganza?
Well, I think as long as I can throw my right leg over top of the horse. My wife and I have friends. We met them 3 years ago out on the trail. They was sitting on a log having lunch, and we rode up to his destination. He didn't say hi. He just said, "How old are you?" And I said, "I won't tell you, but I'm a 1951 model." And he looked at me and he goes, "I know how old you are because I'm a 31 model and my wife's a 30 model."
Oh, wow.
And we just had lunch with them about 4 weeks ago, and they're 90, 91, still doing the same thing we're doing.
That's cool.
That's
extremely
phenomenal.
So they're my heroes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
mine too.
Well, where can our viewers and listeners go to follow you on social media? You guys are on Facebook, am I right?
That's about the only thing we're on.
What's your name on Facebook there?
Just Gary McKee. That's
Gary,
it.
and
from Peru, Illinois.
Spell that for them if you would, please.
Jary and then McKee.
Gotcha. Okay. This is for our listeners because they can see it on the screen. Viewers can see it on the screen. This is the podcast.
That's it, yeah.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank you, Gary and Vicky, for being our guests here on the Camping Show. It was a pleasure having you both with us this evening.
It's good to be here. Enjoy
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Campground Views, Rutabaga Paddle Sports, Sandsbug, Camp Moore, Duluth Pack, for bringing you tonight's show.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode, Gourmet Winter Camp Cooking, with our special guests, Kevin Callan and Cliff Jacobson.
Until then, thank you for tuning into the Camping Show.
This is C.W. Getz
And Willow Munson.
reminding you,
Learn more.
do more. See you next week.
Bye, guys.